Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to Joe's Retro World. Today, I want to talk about a few things you need to know about the Sega Saturn if you buy one in 2024. Alright, so let's check it out. Right here, you can see this is my beautiful Sega Saturn Model 1 from Japan. And they had a few variations because the Model 2 changed and the button design changed and the color scheme changed. But one thing about the Sega Saturn is it doesn't matter whatever model you have, they all output the same video quality, the same audio quality, and you can play any and every game as long as you have what's called like a action replay or a all-in-one. I have both, and the reason I have both is because I wanted to check out to see the difference between each, which one was better, and I actually prefer the all-in-one. Just make sure you buy the correct one. I did not, but it's still very useful to me. So whenever you're buying these all-in-ones, look on the description and make sure that every single one of these little dots are highlighted red. Make sure it has the RAM card for 1 megabyte to 4 megabyte expansion. That it has the 8 megabyte memory card, so it can help you with the games. And then it has the action replay and all that, okay, and everything in menu. Just make sure that all these little dots are red. I messed up. I got this for $50. I should have bought the $75 one, and it would have been a lot better because it would have had both of these, in one. So now I have to use them separate, but I actually use only this one. This one is my preferred to go because I use a Fenrir DUO with, the games all on the SD card. And it actually works really, really good with this because you can go set it to let it know that you're not reading off of CDs no more off of a laser disc, but actually a Fenrir DUO. And you can set it to if you got the other version. I can't what it's called, a mode 7 mode, whatever device emulator, and you can put it to that one too. But for me, it's a Fenrir, so I have it set to this. But as you're using this device and playing, electricity is going through these contacts, and it actually creates corrosion over time. So when you're playing it, depending on your environment, in here, I do not have no a filtration system for the air. Only the regular 3M filter I have for the AC system for the air circulating through. But there's going to be air, grease, and smoke in your house due to your cooking in your house. It doesn't matter if you even got that exhaust fan going. Air, it moves around, it travels, it comes with you. There's what is that thing called, like third hand smoke. So if you're in the kitchen cooking and you come to your games back and forth as you're cooking, you're bringing that stuff. So all that corrodes and degrades the contacts that you have with your expansion cards right here, or like these these devices, these cards that make it to where this allows you to play American, Japanese, European, Brazilian, everything on one Sega Saturn. Because this is a Japanese, if I didn't have this thing right here, I couldn't play American games. So with this card or the action replay card, either one, you can play whatever kind of game on this. And so that's what I do. But another advantage of using these is it just has all those other memory backups and all that good stuff. So because everybody knows that the Sega Saturn is also notorious about not having enough RAM, and you can expand that too. There's videos out there showing you how to do that, to where you just take the whole chip off and put on a new one. And yeah, you got to solder it really, really delicately and all that good stuff. But it's totally worth it if this is your only go-to console, get the best out of it. I went ahead and changed all the capacitors on mine because I love the Sega Saturn and it was messing up. And so I was like, no, I'm going to save it. So I changed all the capacitors. It was a little difficult, but it is doable. Don't be scared. Give it a try. Look at a couple of videos. Look at my video. And then just go out there and just start experimenting and trying it, man, because you're not going to learn if you don't try. Now, when it comes to these expansion slot in the back of your Sega Saturn, let me grab this camera. It's like any slot, like a Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all that. So it has a little door that holds the dust out. But as it goes in, there's your slot. So when you put your cart, be careful. Okay, don't just slam it in there. Push it down, let it line up naturally, and then push it down firmly. Now, every so often, I take this out every month, and then I clean it with a Q-tip and some alcohol, and then dry it with the Q-tip. And then a lot of people started yelling at me last time. Let me put this camera back. Started yelling at me and started telling me, no, don't use those Q-tips. It leaves these little fibers behind. Okay, once you're done drying it off, go back with a toothbrush that's completely brand new, dry, and dust off the bottom of the blades. So what I'm talking about is this. So once you clean it and you go, no, okay, I'm going to rub it some alcohol like this, and then you start drying it, okay, and you got it all dry. Go back with your toothbrush and dust this off. And take all the little fibers that were left behind from the Q-tips, take it all off of this so that it doesn't get inside of that card reader, because it will cause issues. The Sega Saturn is very notorious by having a bad little ribbon back there. I mean, that insert, that slot, okay? I learned this from y'all. Y'all were kind enough to explain to me, hey, you're having these issues with it, because I was showing on another video where I was like, man, sometimes these carts work, sometimes they don't. And people were telling me, you have to be careful because the Sega Saturn is very finicky about that. That was one of the issues. So make sure periodically you gently remove it, clean it, dust it, put it back in, and you should have no issues, okay? Because whenever I start having issues where it doesn't want to act right, I do that, and my games, work. Let me set this camera up. Hold on. Alrighty, y'all. So I have 99% success rate every time I make sure that I clean it, every so often and stuff. You hit the X button. That way you can bring up the cheats. And then you hit, what is it? Yeah, X. And whenever it's green, it's because it's enabled. So you highlight it green to use it, okay? If it's black, it ain't taking it. And then you hit, of course, A button, start the game. But I just wanted to let y'all know that if you do have little issues, that right there is it. Make sure you get you one of these expansion cards so you can play every single game in the world, American, whatever. And then play with all the cheats, because it makes it worth it. Because some of these games are so hard that you're not going to be able to beat it. This is a layers section, as they call it. It's one of my favorite. I didn't like part 2. Part 2 kind of was sucky to me. This was one of the very first games I owned when I got my Saturn. I've never had it growing up, so I got it for my birthday. No, for Christmas. My wife got it for me. No, for my birthday. Yeah, that's right. She got it for me on my birthday. And first game I got was that. Second game was vampire or something fighting game. A lot of people don't like this Fenrir DUO apparently, but I mean, I personally, it was cheap. It does exactly what I wanted to do. No, it doesn't have all those other fancy features of save state and all this other stuff, but I couldn't afford that other expensive mode one. Just couldn't. You got to keep into your budget. And yes, if this was my only console, but I own so many that I wanted to enjoy them all and not spending a lot of money on each one is the only way I can do it, to enjoy them all. So don't buy into that hype that you just gotta do it all like this, go all out. No, something as simple as a $15, it wasn't even that, I think it was $10 for the capacitor kit. Took me 2 hours to do it. And I get to play my Sega Saturn now. with no issues. I got those expansion action replay at first, and then I moved up to the pseudo one, because that won't let you play burned CDs too. So if you don't want to get the, Fenrir or the mode disc emulators, you can always just burn your own disc, and you can buy those disc burners on Amazon for anywhere from $15 to $20. And yeah, some are better than others, of course. As always, you pay what you get. But there are some cheap ones out there that actually work pretty good. Just Google it so you can find videos of how to burn your own, disk images, what software to use, and yeah, it's really fun. A lot of people don't like going through and doing all that work, but I personally enjoy it. It's so satisfactory. From one, you're hunting down, trying to do it. You're trying to figure this out. You're like, oh man, somebody told me I can do this. Let me go do it. And it takes you, a couple of weeks, a week, a day, whatever, hours, but you figure it out. It's so satisfying to sit back and say, man, I did this. I hacked my Wii. I modded my Saturn. I jailbroke my PS3. I'm like, how you do that? I learned. I just tried. Trying is the most thing. So go out there and find you a Saturn on Mercari. You can find some on eBay. Like I said, you don't need an American version. That's just if you really want to spend the money, because they're so expensive for the American version of a Sega Saturn. The Japanese games and all that are way cheaper. Yes, you can't understand them, but there's hand translations out there. So if you're using a Fenrir like me, then you can get the translations and get your ROM, dump it, and then patch it, and boom, you can start playing your favorite games with English translation. There's all kind of ways. The Sega Saturn was totally worth it. A lot of people don't know about it, don't even care about it, and it's sad because it pushed the limit of what you wanted from a 16-bit, awesome steroid freak Genesis. Because man, when you play like Musha or Tusken or all their own shooters on Sega Genesis, you're like, I wanted to upgrade. Sega Saturn came right up and said, here, hold my beer. Hold my beer. They sell wireless controllers. They say, what is it? You can use composite, S-Video, or you can get HD Retrovision component cables and the little adapter. It's a little dongle. You got to buy them all separate from HD Retrovision. But then you'll be able to use a beautiful red-green bleach signal changed over to a YPPPR, which is component in America, and play it. This is S-Video, and I got it right now. The camera doesn't even show it like it's supposed to. Oh, I forgot I got all the hacks on. I don't have to worry about dying. Oh, that's what I love. Here, let me turn this camera off so the last couple of minutes you can at least see just how beautiful a Sega Saturn looks. It's like an arcade machine, man. It's crazy. It's literally like having an arcade in the house. And I forgot to set it to auto. That's why I'm clicking the buttons. But it has an auto feature. You're like, why is he dodging when he got the invisibility put on? It's just for purposes to make the humans feel comfortable. Alrighty, y'all. I hope you enjoy this. Take those tips. So if you have any issues, and like I said, I learned from y'all. I appreciate y'all. I really do, because I wouldn't know as much as I do about all these retro gaming systems if it wasn't for you giving me tips and saying, hey, you know, you're wrong, you did this. Yes, please correct me in any way. Please. I do not want to give out bad information. Okay, y'all. So until next time, peace and much love from Joe's Retro World.